Hey, yes, it's Cuffy and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be sharing some of my tips how I prepare for a gig. Even if you've been DJing for years or even if you're a beginner, just thought I'd share some of my tips really and how I go about it. Change of scenery today as well. I'm actually in my garage and it's quite chilly, so I've got the jacket on for it. Yeah, let's get straight into the video. Okay, so what I like to do first of all is I always make sure that I've got enough music, well, or should I say more than enough music for that gig. Whether you're at a private party or playing in a club, you never know what you're going to get asked to play, or you never know like exactly how long you're going to be in there for. I know like, you know, every place has got their certain times of open and shutting. But like, say if you're not the only one who's DJing that night, you know, if there's like 3 or 4 of you playing as well, and you never know if that person's gonna be a bit late or whichever. So always make sure you've got enough music or more than enough music for that night. Next thing I like to do is I like to go through the you know, the charts and like say like, you know, the first 15 for example. I'll try and find like 3 or 4 different remixes for that, you know, for each tune, whether it's, you know, like a future house remix, deep house remix, or even like a really slow down tempo remix of it, because there might be parts of the night and the crowds might be going for certain vibes and certain tunes. If you're playing at a private party, for example, there might be times when whoever's party it is or the host of the party might want it slowed down for a certain point of the night, so, or day, whenever you're playing. So it's always good to have like a slower remix of a track, or even just a slower track. Also, I like to, you know, as well as having you know, the latest tracks, I like to have a load of classics as well. So I don't know, it could be a remix of Queen, for example. I know Queen's like, you know, it's years old now, Queen is, but if you've got like, you know, Queen or remix or even like a bootleg of Queen, you never know who's going to be in there, especially, you know, if it's in a club or whichever it may be. Throwing in all sorts of different surprises is gonna it's going to be good, and it's going to mix up your set a lot. I like to try and find out which DJs are up and coming. So like I'll go through like, you know, different sites on the internet, different podcasts, and you know, it's another way to get someone's name out there, especially if it sounds really good. Yeah, I like to go through different DJs which are up and coming. And also spreading, well, you know, as well as like promoting them, it's spreading, you know, a brand new sound, if they have produced a brand new sound. But also what I like to do, if you can do, is if you know that DJ, what I like to do is I message them to make sure that it's alright to play out, you know, at parties as well, because I wouldn't want to be upsetting, you know, any DJ or producer for playing their tune without any permission. So so if you can, always try and message them to make sure that they're alright with you playing their tune. Another good tip is as well as like naming your folder for that certain gig, maybe have like some like a few more folders breaking up your different tunes. So like, I don't know, say like if you, I don't know, mate's 21st birthday, for example. So you'll have your folder saying mate's 21st birthday, and then, I don't know, have like a folder saying classics, have like a folder saying brand new, or I don't know, like brand new chart remixes or bootlegs. You get the gist. So what I mean by that is it's easy. Like if you do that, instead of like having like one big folder of like I don't know, 100 tunes, I know you can type it in, but say like if you're trying to think quickly on your feet, I don't know, if you want a classic for example, you just go bam, I've got my classics, got like 50 odd classics in one folder there. Yeah, so it's always good to you know, to separate them and break them up instead of one big folder. But the other good thing about having one big folder is that say like if you want, I don't know, Pump Up the Jam for example, and you've got one big folder, what you can do is if you're on, especially if you're on a laptop or even CDJs, you can just type it in and take it straight there. Sorry, it'll take you straight there to that tune. Another thing what I like to do is once I've got the tunes that I want, I then like to go on my decks and then see how they actually sound out loud and see what mixes in with what. And I normally do that probably a week before my gig, or yeah, probably about a week before my gig. What I'll do is I'll make sure that I've got the first 5 sorted, for example, because there might be times when you're warming up for a gig, or there might be times when the club's like, well, if you come on, or if you've got a private party, there might be there's going to be times when the club's actually, or the venue's quiet. So it's good to have your first probably 4 or 5 tunes sorted, and that settles the nerves then. Because if you're going straight on, and you don't have a clue what you're going to play, it might spark some nerves and you might spark some nervousness. That's if you do get nervous. But what I like to do is definitely make sure that you've got the first 4 or 5 tunes sorted, and that'll ease you in. And if you've got the first 5 tunes sorted and it matches the vibe that's already going on the dance floor, then yeah, you're on to the winner then. What I like to do as well is trying to think how to explain it. Yeah, what I like to do as well is make sure that try and make sure that you have a nice flow to your tunes as well. Because if the tunes sound a bit too much of a change, then which is not it's not a bad thing, but like what I personally like to do is try and make sure make sure that it flows as much as possible and as easy as possible. But don't get me wrong, I'm like there are times when I slow the tempo, write it down, and then change to something completely different, because that's throwing in a surprise, really, isn't it? But yeah, it's always good to make sure that you've got a nice flow to your set as well. It's basically have like a backup, really. Which leads me on to another point. When you've got your memory stick sorted, try and make sure you've got a backup as well, because USB sticks do fail, and I have witnessed one USB stick fail, and you know it's not ideal. Well, in fact, you don't want it to happen at all, because then you've got no music. But yeah, try and make sure that you've got at least 3 USB sticks backed up. That's what I bring to a gig anyway, yeah, 3 USB sticks. And that then brings me on to the last point, and probably the most important point, which is just to enjoy yourself. Music is very, very fun, and I know it's a difficult industry sometimes, but and I know sometimes it can be stressful, like it can be really stressful, but one of the most important things is to just enjoy it and try not to be nervous, because at the end of the day, music is really fun and it's there to be enjoyed, isn't it? So yeah, if you could like and subscribe, that'd be absolutely amazing. I'll pop up my social medias on the screen now for you. So if you could add me on Snapchat, follow me on Twitter, add me on Facebook, etc, that'd be amazing. And if you could like and subscribe this video, that'd be perfect. And one last thing, I've just uploaded an end of summer mini mix on the rave sessions. If you could give that a listen, that'd be amazing. I'll link it down below for you in the description. I don't know which location I'm going to be in next. For my next video, whether it's in the front room again, or my room, or even in the garage again. But yeah, it's me, Cuffy, off again.